It's time for America Outdoors Radio. The fast-paced hour of outdoors radio ahead is not only awesome, but unlike those other shows, you can actually sleep in for this one. Better still, we've got a special Pacific Northwest edition for you, sponsored by Northwest Sportsman Magazine, Rugged Point Lodge on Vancouver Island, and Northwest Fishing Guides out of our hometown here in Everett. You won't find this version of America Outdoors Radio anywhere else. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio. Brought to you by Fox Sports 1380 KRKO.
Welcome to the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio. We've got a lot of great stuff for you again. We're checking in with Jim Stahl with Northwest Fishing Guides. He's heading to the Snake River near Heller Bar for salmon and steelhead. Stuart at the counter of Holiday Sports in Burlington is going to give you an update on the Skagit River coho fishing. And Bruce Warren with Fishing for Fun Guide Service shares his favorite coho lure with you. But before we get into all of that, it's time to tell you what's hot in the Pacific Northwest. First off, the coho return is better than expected this fall, and that's why the Skagit and Cascade Rivers are now open as is. Marine Area 13 west of Align, from the southernmost point of Devil's Head at the southern end of Key Peninsula to the eastern boundary of Tolmie State Park. The daily limit is 2 hatchery fish here in the South Sound. The Snohomish River is also open to coho fishing this weekend with a daily limit of 2 coho. So we have gone from an expectation of 0 coho retention to a situation where we're getting a late shot at these fish with better than expected returns. As a sports angler, I'll take that over not fishing any day. If you want some fall trout action, consider a trip to Bradley Lake in Pierce County. It turns out the Washington Department of Fish and Wildlife has stocked this lake 3 times in the past month with rainbows weighing half a pound each. That ought to make for a fun fishing opportunity. Finally, this is the week you'll want to be scouting for deer, ducks, and geese because all 3 seasons open up next Saturday, and indications are it's going to be pretty darn good. This is also the week to contact landowners for permission to hunt. Do so at a decent time, be polite, and consider bearing gifts. My favorite, smoked salmon. Trust me, it helps. Next on the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio, we're checking in with Jim Stahl again with Northwest Fishing Guides. Jim, understand you're getting ready to leave your home in Everett and you're heading towards the Snake River. What's going on there?
We're going to be fishing for steelhead, and I know we're going to hook some salmon in there too, so we're going to have a good time with the steelhead. We'll have a little bit of a good time with the salmon, but we're mainly targeting steelhead.
So what part of the Snake are you fishing?
Mainly fish, I guess it would be south of Isoton. The Heller's Bar, mouth of the Grand Ronde, not much farther upriver than that, maybe 2 miles. If you look at a map of Washington, we're in the most extreme southeast corner there is. Indeed
you are. I have been there before. I've seen that fishery in action, participated as well, and because it's a good 45 minutes, hour away from the nearest big town of Clarkston, it's a pretty dedicated group of guides and anglers that fish that. Good fishing, but it's not as crowded as you would think it would be.
No, and it's kind of nice. It's getting back to the old days where we used to have all the rivers open over here on the west side. You could actually, get away from the crowds and, catch some fish and catch good numbers of fish. And if you see 10 boats a day, maybe 15 boats a day, that's fairly crowded over there. And, I can put up with that compared to other rivers at home where we're putting up with 50 to 100 boats a day.
Well, in terms of the forecast, folks, the fall Chinook run is right around the 10-year average, so that's going to be pretty good there on the Snake. The Steelhead run is down on the Columbia and Snake River system. The good news is that most of the steelhead that have crossed Bonneville Dam, they're heading up the Snake. They're heading towards the Grand Ronde, so should be some decent fishing there for you.
Yeah, and I thank God for Oregon putting some fish in the river, and then Idaho puts a lot of fish in the river, and it's a great thing. Those fish have a long way to go. They're 360 some miles from the ocean and like 7 dams, and it's just a miracle that they're in as good a shape and, the plentiful as they are.
Well, there you go, folks. If you want to book a trip with Jim, he's got some openings. Just go to nwfishingguides.net. That website again, nwfishingguides.net. Give him or his wife Jennifer a call. They will hook you up and get you to some great fishing in a very scenic location. Thanks as always, Jim.
Yep, take care.
And with that, let's head to this week's national edition of America Outdoors Radio.
Backcountry hunters and anglers, the men and women working hard to keep public lands in public hands. Check us out at backcountryhunters.org.
It's time for America Outdoors Radio, the show that covers the outdoor scene across the U.S. of A. and the entire continent. Fishing, hunting, conservation, outdoor recreation, and great destinations. We cover it all every week. It's your country, your outdoors. Let's explore it together with your host, John Cruz.
Welcome to the show. I'm John Cruz, and this broadcast is sponsored every week by Northwest Sportsman Magazine, the American Shooting Journal, the Alaska Sporting Journal, and California Sportsman Magazine. Speaking of California, we'd like to welcome some new listeners on board, tuning in to AM 1440 KUHL, the information station, broadcasting in Santa Maria, California, and also broadcasting to listeners in Pismo Beach, California, that place made famous by none other than Bugs Bunny. I don't know about you, but I love October. The fish tend to be on the bite, putting on the feed bag, so to speak, before winter hits. And whether you're after steelhead, salmon, trout, bass, or walleye, chances are you're going to be getting into some good fishing this month. As for hunting, well, needless to say, this is the month where we are in full swing. Whether you're after deer, elk, bear, or antelope, you've probably been dreaming about this month all year. And let's not forget all of you duck and goose hunters, as well as all of you bird dog men and women heading afield hoping to flush a limit of pheasant or quail. As for me, you'll find me at a little eastern Washington pond favored by teal and the occasional mallard next weekend. I'll be taking in opening day as I have for years with my son and my best friend Rusty Johnston. We'll also have a new addition this year, my daughter Faith, who just got her license and will enjoy her first opening morning shotgun in hand. Georgia, my Springer Spaniel, has already been hard at work too, hunting the youth opener for both duck and pheasant with Faith in September and busting the brush for quail and chukar last week. Add to that the mild temperatures, the changing colors, and the soft light, and it's no wonder that October is the favorite month of the year for so many of us. Speaking of fishing and hunting, we've definitely got that coming at you this week on the show. We'll start off talking to Michelle Peters. She is the president of Visit Lewis Clark Valley. She's an accomplished salmon and steelhead angler and a person who knows all about the fall fishing and hunting opportunities you'll find in Hell's Canyon, a beautiful and remote portion of the Snake River bordering Oregon, Washington, and Idaho. After we talk to Michelle, we'll be bringing you audio we recorded at SHOT Show in Las Vegas earlier this year about a couple of items you'll want to have along with you on your next hunting trip. Ryan Bussey with Kimber shows off an incredible lightweight hunting rifle named the Mountain Ascent, and John Barrett with Havalon Knives will tell you about the great knives they have for taking care of big game, as well as a brand new and very functional multi-tool they've come out with this year, designed with input from none other than that famous hunter Jim Shockey. In other news, election season is here, and if you're a firearms owner, there's a very scary proposition on the ballot in California that would criminalize the possession of magazines holding over 10 rounds and require you to register in advance, go through a background check, and pay a fee before you can buy ammunition at your local sporting goods, hardware, or department store. It's called Proposition 63. It could well be the blueprint for similar legislation in other states, and Sean Brady with the Coalition for Civil Liberties will tell you more about it. In addition to this, we'll talk to California professional bass angler Greg Gutierrez about his favorite bass lake to fish and about a new lure he has developed for his company Frenzy Baits called the Frenzy Nail. We've also got really big news about one giant outdoor retailer buying out another, the story of one tough hombre from Montana who survived not one, but get this, 2 bear attacks in one day, and information about what may well be the biggest cash payout fishing derby series in the world. In other words, we've got a full hour of the outdoors charging your way. But before we get any deeper into this, we're going to head to the Snake River. Next up on America Outdoors Radio, I've got a question for you. What is North America's deepest gorge? You guessed the Grand Canyon, didn't you? That's right. Well, it's not. In fact, the deepest gorge in all of North America is Hell's Canyon. And with us here to tell you about some things you can do during the fall at Hell's Canyon, located along the combined border of Oregon, Washington, and Idaho, is Michelle Peters, the president and CEO of Visit Lewis Clark Valley. Michelle, welcome to the show.
Thank you.
So, Michelle, a lot of our listeners are in Alaska and California. We've even got listeners in Tennessee. They don't know a whole lot about Hell's Canyon. So let's go ahead and explain exactly what it is to folks first.
Well, we're located right here in the valley. It's Lewiston, Idaho, and Clarkston, Washington. We're known as the Gateway to Hell's Canyon. The official entrance is about 35 miles south here, going upriver on the Snake River into Hell's Canyon.
So the Snake River, really big river. It basically starts at the confluence of the Columbia near the Tri-Cities of Washington, and it flows past Lewiston and Clarkston, and then it keeps going into Idaho, and it goes quite a ways into Idaho. But the canyon itself, most people define it basically from the dam down to what? Cache Creek, is it?
That is correct.
And what kind of river mileage are we looking at between Cache Creek and the dam?
Cache Creek is about 35 miles away from here, and it's 117 to the dam from Lewiston.
And folks, you don't think about driving into there because there's very limited access. There's no road that follows the canyon. Most people experience the canyon one of two ways, and those are?
I would definitely recommend a jet boat tour out of Lewiston, Idaho. Easy to get on here and access the canyon. Or if you're going for a fishing trip, it's a short drive 28 miles south to Heller Bar, where the boat launch is, where you can access your fishing trips.
Another way to do it in the summer, more so than the fall, is to raft from Hell's Canyon downstream too. There are some permits involved with that, but that's a great way to see the river as well. Let's talk about doing it yourself. That's really not a smart move when it comes to navigating the rapids if you haven't done it before, is it?
I would not recommend it. I'd definitely recommend going with one of our guides on the jet boat tours or fishing charter. So they know the river. It is rapids, class 3, 4, and it's very dangerous if you don't know what you're doing.
Let's talk about the fishing because that's what brings a lot of people here in the fall. Two species that folks are targeting come October, November.
There's the fall Chinook and then the Stillhead. And it's usually the A run that are here in the beginning of the year or the season in October, November. And then the later in the year, the B run Stillhead starts traveling the rivers, and they're a lot larger, 20 plus pound fish.
And the A-runs are nothing to sneeze at either. I mean, 6 to 10 pound fish are very common for the A-runs, and the fall Chinook, they can get way, way up there. We're talking 20 to 30 pound fish at times when it comes to the fall Chinook. In October in particular, great time to fish for both species. And how are most folks doing this, especially when it comes to down by Heller Bar? They're using the same technique for both fish, aren't they?
They usually do. They're either pulling plugs, back trolling, or side drifting.
Another thing I want to talk to you about is hunting, because that is certainly an option. In fact, some people do casts and blasts where they're fishing for steelhead or they're fishing for salmon, and then they're getting out of the boat and they're chasing after some hard-running birds called chukar.
They definitely do, and it's definitely for the hardcore adventure person to go after those chukars. There's very steep hills in the canyon. It's a challenge, but it's a lot of fun.
In addition to that, if you're lucky enough, there's a lot of deer that are along the canyon as well. Are there opportunities for that as well?
There is. There's the Snake River and Chesnumas unit in Oregon, where you can draw permits for Hell's Canyon, and we have guides that are here locally that can take you on those. And then they also have a lodge in the canyon.
And one other thing we have to mention, this is very remote and very beautiful country. It has a beauty all of its own. Spring is a great time to come if you get the chance, just because of all the wildflowers and the desert environment here is in bloom. But fall has a lot to offer too, doesn't it?
It really does. With the temperatures cooling off, you can do really, like you said, the combinations of fishing, chukar hunting, and I'd highly recommend staying in the canyon at one of the lodges. They have all the comforts of home in the very remote Hell's Canyon. There's hiking trails. It's just a beautiful location.
So there you go. Whether you want to fish or hunt or just take a cruise down to Hell's Canyon, which is full of history. The guides will just tell you some amazing stories as you navigate the rapids and go past places where all sorts of events have unfolded over the last 200 years. Is there a website we can steer people to find out more about experiencing Hell's Canyon?
Yes, they can go to our website at visitlewisclarkvalley.com.
That's visitlewisclarkvalley.com, or if it's easier to remember, visitlcvalley.com. That's visitlcvalley.com. Check out Hell's Canyon. I think you're going to be impressed. Michelle, thanks for telling us all about this on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you.
So let me tell you a little story. A few years ago, I was traveling up to the Cowlitz River to do a little steelhead fishing right about this time of year. I hit a sheet of black ice, and in a matter of seconds, I had $50,000 worth of boat laying in a ditch upside down. My first call was to my insurance company, a company that if you own a boat, you need to know about. The company is called the Boat Insurance Agency, and they're located right here in the Northwest. In a very short amount of time, my totaled boat, a situation that could have sunk me, was resurrected and made right. I've since learned that my outcome isn't always the case for others, which is why you need to be sure your boat insurance is being handled by boat insurance experts. This is what they do, folks. Visit them on the web at boatinsurance.net. That's boatinsurance.net. The Boat Insurance Agency. Hey, this is a call you have to make. You need to know that your boat is really covered. boatinsurance.net.
Looking for the safest, most stable riding boat on the market? Welcome to Stabicraft. Born in New Zealand, Stabicraft has a built-in reputation for making the most seaworthy boats on the market. Heavy gauge aluminum chambered boats with models ranging from 14 to 29 feet in a variety of configurations to suit all your needs. Check out the all-new 2750 center cab, a walk-around design for the Northwest market and packed with industry-leading features to suit all types of fishing, allowing you to adventure with confidence. Book a test ride today at stabicraft.com.
Everyone knows Kodiak Island is one of the best places in Alaska to go fishing. You can pay a lot of money to go with a guide or stay at a lodge, or you can do it yourself. There are over 100 miles of roadway on Kodiak Island leading to streams and lakes full of trout, salmon, and char. How to get there? With Budget of Kodiak. Located at the airport, we offer daily and weekly car rentals, as well as discounts for military and AARP members. Contact Budget of Kodiak and explore.
Are you an outfitter, sporting goods retailer, boat dealer, or someone else in the outdoors industry? If you are, you know targeted advertising works best, and what would work better than advertising with America Outdoors Radio? Our hour-long show is heard throughout Seattle, Everett, and the East Side every Saturday morning, and your message will be heard there too. Better still, our rates are way more affordable than you think. Want to find out more? Contact me, John Cruz, through my website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. That's America Outdoors Radio, bringing you more business.
Want a trip with some of the most talented anglers on the water? Then book a trip with Northwest Fishing Guides. Salmon, that's right, salmon are their specialty, and you'll get a chance to catch them out of the mighty Columbia River from a comfortable and sturdy 26-foot boat. Northwest Fishing Guides will take you out for steelhead and sturgeon too, and can also accommodate your saltwater fishing desires. So whether you want salmon in the cooler or other fish on the line, book your trip now at nwfishingguides.net. That's nwfishingguides.net. Book your trip with the best.
Looking for the safest, most stable riding boat on the market? Welcome to Stabicraft. Born in New Zealand, Stabicraft has a built-in reputation for making the most seaworthy boats on the market. Heavy gauge aluminum chambered boats with models ranging from 14 to 29 feet in a variety of configurations to suit all your needs. Check out the all-new 2750 center cab, a walk-around design for the Northwest market and packed with industry-leading features to suit all types of fishing, allowing you to adventure with confidence. Book a test ride today at stabicraft.com.
Did you check out this month's edition of Northwest Sportsman Magazine? If you didn't, you're missing out, because it's the best publication out there that covers the fishing and hunting scene, not only in Washington State, but in the entire Northwest. Northwest Sportsman Magazine has got great writers and great content you need to have to be successful. Northwest Sportsman Magazine is the publication for you. Find out more at nwsportsmanmag.com or pick up a copy at a newsstand near you. Next up on America Outdoors Radio, we've got a product review for you. We're broadcasting from SHOT Show in Las Vegas, Nevada. It's where all the firearms manufacturers come and roll out what's new and what's the best that they have for sale. Well, one such company is Kimber. Now, they are headquartered in Yonkers, but their sales office is in Kalispell, Montana. That's where Ryan Bussey works. And Ryan, you've got a Mountain Ascent rifle in your hands, and I just love this firearm. It is so lightweight.
I do, John, and thanks. Lightweight's what it's all about. Not only is it lightweight, our main goal with everything we make is to essentially cut no corners. The only corner we cut here was weight. Functionally, though, this is what we would consider to be the upper echelon of I guess if you would, a sheep rifle, but it's anything that you would hunt in the West. But our short action guns in this, so the 308 6.5 Creedmoor, which is new for us this year, a hot caliber, those guns weigh in at under 5 pounds, 4 pounds 13 ounces, and you probably have a couple granola bars in your backpack that weigh 4 pounds and 13 ounces. So this is really a joy to carry, and they're 1-inch guns. They shoot fantastic, come with a muzzle brake on them, a gun that we're really proud of.
Well, Ryan, it's funny you mention that. You say it's for the West, but I would say that this could be used in the Appalachians as well. Anywhere where basically you're doing spot and stalk hunting, whether it be for bear, whether it be for elk, whether it be for deer, whether it be for sheep. And you basically got to be, humping the hills and humping the ridge lines. An 8, 9, 10-pound firearm gets really, really heavy really quick. So having something that's a third of that weight or half that weight, that is a big game changer.
Yeah, it really is. And when we first brought this rifle out, I had a lot of friends in the industry that have been hunting with 8, 9, 10, 12-pound rifles for a long time and thought nothing of it. Heck, I used to do it. But I've yet to find a person out of the thousands who have bought these rifles who hasn't said, oh my gosh, what have I been doing for the last 10 or 15 or 20 years? Really is a game changer for you. And you're right. We have a version of the Mountain Ascent called the Adirondack rifle, named after the famous mountain range, East Coast, upstate New York mountains. And it's made, as you said, spot and stock, whitetail hunting, anything in the East, and frankly used in the West a lot too. Shorter barreled, but same concept. Lightweight, our carbon fiber, hand-laid carbon fiber stock. And machining, we've machined every bit of metal we can out of the rifle, as if you took one of your old heavier rifles to a gunsmith and had him remove every bit of extra metal, including machining out bolts, bolt handles, the bolt itself, extractor. So there's really no extra weight in the gun whatsoever. You want to add, again, another couple granola bars in your pack, go for it, but the weight's not going to be on your rifle.
Well, folks, it's an absolutely beautiful and functional firearm, and with this weight, it would be a pleasure to carry all day long. And it looks like it's going to shoot just great, too. Where can people find the Mountain Ascent rifle?
Yeah, so we're sold in about 2,500 retail stores across the United States. And I can't say this 100%, but if it's a fine, reputable gun store, including everything from mom and pop stores to independent stores to large chains like Cabela's and Sportsman's Warehouse and Gander Mountain, any of those are all Kimber Master dealers. And they either carry the Mountain Ascent in their store or they can order one for you, and we're proud to be sold through those independent retailers.
One other thing we ought to mention, if people wanted to go ahead and take a look at it right now from their homes or on their mobile phones, what's the website for Kimber?
It's kimberamerica.com, and just click on our rifle link there, go down, you'll see every rifle we make. We make a lot of them, including this Mountain Ascent. You'll see it with the Sitka camo on it, you'll recognize it.
That's kimberamerica.com. Kimber, one of the finest firearm makers out there. Thanks, Ryan. Really appreciate it.
Thank you. Thanks for being at SHOT Show.
Next on America Outdoors Radio, we're broadcasting from SHOT Show in Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, I know that SHOT Show was a couple of months ago, but this is the place where all sorts of new products are rolled out for the shooting, hunting, outdoor industry. And one place I was really excited to stop by was Havalon Knives. If you haven't heard of Havalon Knives before, you're missing out. They've really taken the knife industry by storm. With us here to tell us more about it is John Barrett, Vice President of Sales and Marketing. John, welcome to the show.
Hi, John. Thanks for having me.
Let's go ahead and for the listeners who are not familiar with Havalon Knives, let's talk about what separates your knives from the competition. It all comes down to the blade, doesn't it?
Yeah, the blade is the biggest part of our knife. It's really what's made it as successful as it is. Our parent company is a medical device company for over 40 years, and they've basically been making surgical blades throughout that time. They figured out the right mix that puts together a good stainless steel blade that can hold up to the beating that a typical hunter is going to give it. If you try to just use a standard surgical blade for this kind of procedure or this type of cleaning, you're basically bumping to a bone and it's over. Your blade's gone, it breaks. Ours is a little more forgiving. If you nick a bone or do a little twist or turn, you're not going to necessarily break our blade. But it's really just meant for cutting and making the job of cleaning your animal easier for you.
Well, there's no other company I'm aware of that actually manufactures replaceable blades in the way that you do. It's really an innovative technique, and it's really caught on across the nation.
Yeah, it's been pretty amazing how people have really taken it on. And what really did it for us was the guides and the outfitters out west. People coming on a hunt and they'd see the guide just take an animal apart in no time whatsoever, and they'd be so impressed by it. It was something they just had to get themselves. And so it's really just blown up from there. And so we've just innovated each year, added new things that our audience would like, and the hunters just seem to be gobbling up every time we've got a new product.
Well, speaking of hunters, speaking of new things, I understand Jim Shockey has helped you design a brand new multi-tool. Tell me more about this.
Yeah, the multi-tool is very exciting. Everybody just can't wait for this one to hit the market. Everybody who touches the prototype, it just has to have it. So it's definitely going to be a success. So we're confident with that. But what Jim wanted from a multi-tool was one that either just had exactly what he needed. It didn't have to have, the Swiss Army knife of multi-tools where you've got a corkscrew and crazy stuff that you're not needing out there in the field. But he wanted to be able to have our replaceable blade. That's essential. He wanted to be able to have, more than anything, a bit receptacle that would hold a standard 1/4-inch bit. So if you have a bit for your optics or a bit for your rifle, we've got a spot in the handle on our multi-tool that'll hold those 2 bits, so that you're not having to take an additional tool out into the woods with you. So in addition to having the Havalon knife on one end, the 1/4-inch bit receptacle and 2 spots to store them, it also has a fixed gut hook. It has a pair of pliers, wire snippers, and wire strippers. And that's it. We didn't load it up with too much, so it's still nice, lightweight, easy to carry. And again, all the fans of Havalon are going to want one, and if you're not a Havalon fan yet, you will after you see this.
So the next question is this. When can people get their hands on this multi-tool?
We'll be shipping product in May. We're working through the prototypes right now. We're on our 2nd or 3rd version. We bring the prototypes to the show so we can get chances for improvement. People get them in their hand, they hold them, they go, hey, this would be even better if you did this, or you should change this little thing right here. So it really helps to make the product the best it can possibly be by putting it in the hands of the users and letting them help along through the developmental process. So by May, we'll have packaged product ready for the shelf.
And Havalon knives found pretty much all the big box stores, Cabela's, Sportsman's Warehouse, Scheels, you name it.
Yeah, we're in pretty much all of those locations. We also get quite a bit of help from the smaller stores that are out there. There's a lot of regional places that people aren't necessarily aware of, but when they pop their head in, they're going to find a Havalon knife there because it's hard to find a store that doesn't have our knife in it yet. And most of the guys, if they're not selling our knives yet, it's on the list of things they need to do, and we're finding that out a shot, that a lot of people either already have our knife or they've been told they need to come to our booth.
John, one more thing. If people want to get a look at this multi-tool, is it on your website at least?
It is. We do have a spot on the website, and we are taking retailers can place pre-orders, but consumers can just get on a list to be notified. So go to the website, put your email address in, sign up for notification once they're available and on the market. You'll get an email to let you know you can go out and buy your own.
And that website is?
It's Havalon.com.
That's Havalon.com. Havalon.com for Havalon knives. Check out their complete line of knives. Check out this brand new multi-tool. I think you're going to be impressed. John, thanks for telling us all about this on America Outdoors Radio.
Thank you, John. Appreciate the time.
With hunting season right around the corner, you need to be ready. Speedy Sharp is all you need to take on your hunt to sharpen every edge you have when you are on the prowl for your favorite game. Speedy Sharp will sharpen all your knives, including serrated and hawk-billed knives, as well as broadhead arrows. Weighing 1.5 ounces, ultra slim, and only 4.5 inches long, you won't have to worry about lugging a heavier sharpener around. This hunting season, when you find yourself in the backcountry with a buck to dress, Speedy Sharp will make sure you never lose your edge.
Do you long to hunt Africa's most dangerous big game? Big Game Hunting Adventures offers that. Hunting free-range Cape buffalo in some of the wildest untamed country left on the continent. You'll be the only hunting party tracking free-range buffalo on 160,000 acres of land where the borders of Mozambique, South Africa, and Zimbabwe meet. They include pickup at Johannesburg International Airport, and they're among the most affordable you'll find in all of Africa. Book your safari today at BigGameHuntingAdventures.com.
It's time for another local shot of the outdoors. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio, and you'll only hear it here on Fox Sports 1380 KRKO.
Next up on America Outdoors Radio, we are talking to Stuart at Holiday Sports there in Burlington, right off of I-5 on Highway 20. Stuart, got to ask you, how has the coho fishing been on the Skagit River?
Coho fishing on the Skagit is improving since the tribes pulled their nets. They're doing really well. There's fish in the whole river, all the way from the mouth to Marble Mount.
Nice.
You just got to find them. There's been really bright fish. I had a couple of reports lately that they're catching them clear up by concrete with sea lice on them still.
Oh, my gosh. And what is the limit, 2 or 4 fish, Stuart?
It's 4 fish limit. 2 can be wild.
All right. So here's the next question. How are people catching them?
Okay, the primary lures have been Dick Knight spoons, Wicked Willie spoons, Vibrax spinners, MEPS spinners, and Brad's Wiggler plugs.
All right. And folks, if you need any of those lures, I guarantee you that Holiday Sports is the place to go for them. Drop on by. Stuart, I know you're busy. I can hear lots of background noise because you got lots of customers who want to go fishing, but thanks for taking the time to tell us about this on America Outdoors Radio.
You're welcome.
There's a whole bunch more of the great outdoors coming your way on Fox Sports 1380.
Are you an outfitter, sporting goods retailer, boat dealer, or someone else in the outdoors industry? If you are, you know targeted advertising works best, and what would work better than advertising with America Outdoors Radio? Our hour-long show is heard throughout Seattle, Everett, and the East Side every Saturday morning, and your message will be heard there too. Better still, our rates are way more affordable than you think. Want to find out more? Contact me, John Cruz, through my website at AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. That's America Outdoors Radio, bringing you more business.
Tom and Jerry's Boat Center in Mount Vernon is Washington's largest Hughes Craft and Kingfisher aluminum boat dealer. As a leader in sales, service, and fun on the water, Tom and Jerry's only purpose is to make sure you end up with the right boat for your family's needs at a price that will make you smile. Whether it's a new Hughes Craft or Kingfisher or a new Yamaha or Honda outboard, Tom and Jerry's can take care of all your needs. Check us out at tomandjerrys.net, and we'll see you on the water.
Dick Figgins with Dick Knight Lures talks about the history and tradition of this Northwest company that makes trout lures and more.
Dick Knight was a fisherman in the 1930s. Our roots are trout. Our heritage is trout. We've been a Washington State company for 81 years. When my parents bought Dick Knight in 1967, there were 15 lures. Nickel, brass, copper, 50-50, and red and white in 3 sizes. We have 285 now.
See Dick Knight on Facebook or at your local retailer. Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz, and this portion of the show is brought to you by California Sportsman Magazine, is the monthly publication that covers the hunting, fishing, and firearms scene throughout the great state of California. Pick up a copy at a newsstand near you. Speaking of California, we are going to tell you about a proposition that is on the ballot this fall. It's Proposition 63, and if you're a gun owner, this could be really bad news if it passes. With us here to tell us more about it is Sean Brady. He is with the Coalition for Civil Liberties, which is basically promoting no on Proposition 63. Sean, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, John.
So, Sean, why don't you go ahead and explain what Proposition 63 is for our listeners?
Sure. Well, in a nutshell, because it's 34 pages of legalese, and even lawyers like myself who are used to deciphering complex statutes have difficulty determining exactly what it is, which is just a reason alone for everyone to oppose Proposition 63. You know, the public shouldn't be voting on 34 pages of a law, but it does generally a few things. One, it bans the possession of over 10-round magazines. So California, many years ago, banned the sale or importation or making of these magazines, but now they want to go back and say, well, even if you had them before then, the deal was you could keep them. Well, we're going back on that deal. We're taking them.
Right.
Then it says it sets up a whole ammunition registration scheme whereby you would have to apply to be with the state, the California Department of Justice, to be an authorized ammunition purchaser and go on their database of authorized ammunition purchasers. So every time you go to the store to buy ammo, and you would have to go to a licensed ammunition vendor. Everybody who wants to sell ammo has to get licensed, and you can no longer do private party sales. I couldn't sell you ammo if you were my neighbor and were like, hey, I want to go to the range really quick. I could not sell you ammo. We would have to go down to the store and make a transfer, and then at the store, the licensed vendor would do a check to make sure you're on the state's list of authorized ammunition purchasers. And then to get on that list, you have to apply with the California Department of Justice, which requires a $50 fee and up to a $30 wait for it to be processed. And this would go on every 3 to 4 years.
Oh, my gosh.
So, yeah, so imagine how many people who, don't shoot that often or get invited to a hunt last minute or to go target shooting. They go into the store and go, oh, I just want a box of ammo, a couple boxes of ammo. And they go, oh, well, you're not on the list. You got to go and apply with the Department of Justice. And here, I'll see you back in 30 days.
Wow.
So, how many people are just going to say, no, I'm not going to bother? And why would I spend $50 so I could just buy, $20 worth of ammo?
Not even that. If you just wanted to go to the range, like you said, and shoot around a trap, normally it's a $6 box of ammo. You're going to spend $56 now for that $6 box of ammo.
Yeah, well, their response to that is that they've exempted ammo at the range that you purchase at the range, which is kind of funny for two reasons. One, if you buy it at the range, you have to leave it at the range, so you can't go and buy ammo, and then if you don't shoot it all, take it home. You basically have to give it back to the range. And it shows how pointless the law is, because as those of us who shoot all know, many ranges there's no way that the owners are going to be able to police how much, what ammo is going in and out of a range. So once it's sold, if a bad guy really wants to go get ammo without getting background checked, well, assuming he even has to go this far, because we all know that bad guys can find ammo wherever they want.
Right.
Just go and pocket, 10 rounds out of the, 50 or 100 you buy at a range. Nobody's going to know, be the wiser. And that's all bad guys need, right? They usually are only shooting 2 or 3 rounds at their fellow bad guys. So anyway, Prop 63 goes on to do much more other things. One is a duty to report firearms lost or stolen, which isn't really that big of a deal, but it is in the sense that it now makes the victim of the crime the potential criminal and reluctant to talk to police. I, as a lawyer, if somebody told me, hey, my firearm was lost or stolen, I can't find it, should I report it to the police? I would say, hold on, let me negotiate immunity for you if you don't know when it went missing. And so it just California recently put a law into effect that makes it a crime to falsely report a firearm lost or stolen, which makes sense.
Sure.
Because that's what they're trying to prevent, is people saying, oh, my gun was lost or stolen, when they really were doing a straw purchase, selling it to somebody else, and claiming it was lost or stolen. It also sets up court systems which force the courts to confirm that those who become prohibited from firearm ownership relinquish their firearms, which sounds on its face as a good idea and not problematic, but, the devil's always in the details, especially in 34 pages of legalese. And the problem generally with initiatives is that they're basically set in stone. And the California Legislative Analyst's Office said that it will cost tens of millions of dollars a year to do this system, just this portion of Prop 63. And the courts didn't get any say-so in it. The lawyers didn't. There's no negotiation on the verbiage or the processes. The police who are impacted, the probation officers who are impacted, none of these people had any say-so. And this system's just going to be forced down their throats with the price tag of tens of millions of dollars a year. And it can't really be fixed without another proposition.
Sean, this is a horrible piece of legislation. The proponents of this, what do they think they're going to accomplish? What are they saying is going to happen if this passes?
Oh, well, it's the typical, this is going to be close the loopholes. Apparently your right to keep and bear arms and to obtain the tools necessary to keep and bear arms is a loophole in their mind. But the reality is it's just Lieutenant Governor Gavin Newsom trying to get a platform to springboard himself into the governorship in 2018. He wants to make a name for himself. He knows that this law does absolutely nothing. These gun control proponents these days are pushing content, or they're pushing concept over content. They don't really care what the bills do, what the laws do in reality. They just care that they did something so that they appear that they're doing something and to impede lawful gun ownership. Their goal is to destroy the culture of shooting and hunting and all the stuff that all of us love. They don't like it, and they want to end it.
Wow. So, again, to recap, if Proposition 63 passes, if you possess a 10-round or over magazine, you're a criminal. If you don't register to buy ammunition, again, you're a criminal. and all the other stuff you mentioned, too. Those are the two highlights there. Is there a website where people can find out more about this?
Sure. The Coalition for Civil Liberties has a website, stoptheammograb.com. You can see them on Facebook as well. And it's all over the media. You know, law enforcement has overwhelmingly opposed Proposition 63. Even those who generally support gun control and these types of measures should be very careful about supporting this particular proposition. Look at what the police are saying. The California Police Chiefs Association, who supports ammunition background checks, opposes Proposition 63 because it's that bad.
All right. One more time with the website there, Sean.
StopTheAmmoGrab.com, Coalition for Civil Liberties.
StopTheAmmoGrab.com. Check it out. Even if you don't live in California, you should be concerned about this, because if this passes, I guarantee you this will become a template, and you will start seeing propositions like this in other places, especially if you live in Oregon or Washington, which always seems to follow the path of California. Sean, thanks for giving us a heads up about this scary, scary proposition on America Outdoors Radio.
My pleasure. Thank you, John.
I'll tell you what, these anti-gun groups, these people with an anti-Second Amendment agenda, you got to be careful about what they're saying and fact check it. Case in point, little article from the National Rifle Association. Turns out last month, a Tennessee gun control group named Safe Tennessee Project trumpeted a new statistic from the Centers for Disease Control showing that in 2014, 105 people in Tennessee were killed in unintentional shootings, which is more than a 5-fold increase from 2013. The mainstream media dutifully parroted the group's claims. However, following a review of their data, the Tennessee Department of Health, which provided this information to the CDC, determined that only 5 people in Tennessee were killed in unintentional shooting deaths in 2014, not 105. 5. That's how bad the misinformation is. Stick around. There's more coming up on America Outdoors Radio.
If you want comfort, convenience, and confidence while carrying in the field or in the water, the Man Gear Alaska chest holder is for you. Our made-in-America nylon holsters are durable and outlast the competition. Our chest holders are favored by anglers, hunters, and hikers alike because your hands are free with this low-profile holster, and it comes in sizes that will fit just about any semi-automatic pistol or revolver that you own. Find out more at mangearalaska.com. That's mangearalaska.com. Hey, stay safe out there.
Head to Texas to hunt game at Ox Ranch. That's where you'll find thousands of animals, both native and exotic, that you can hunt. If you prefer not to hunt, that's okay. Feed our free-ranging giraffes. Strap on your helmet and drive a tank instead. Ox Ranch is also the home of Drive Tanks, where you can drive and shoot real World War II tanks like the Sherman tank featured in the movie Fury. We've also got artillery, mortars, and machine guns to fire, as well as flamethrowers. Find out more about Ox Ranch and Drive Tanks at drivetanks.com.
Frontier Tactical's Warlock multiple caliber system allows you to retrofit your AR-15 rifle to shoot up to 60 different calibers with the same upper and lower receiver. The Warlock is compatible with most off-the-shelf AR-15 components, which means you get to build your rifle the way you want to. Whether you're into predator hunting, hog hunting, deer hunting, or self-defense, the Warlock multiple caliber system lets you do it all. Find out more about this innovative, made-in-the-USA product at frontiertactical.com.
Timberline range camps are known for their rugged, durable, well-insulated range camp trailers. Don't think of these as an RV. They're an RV on steroids that will last you a lifetime. They are comfortable, too, fitted with all the amenities you would expect, and they even include a wood stove. Timberline range camps can be used as a hunting camp or a towable home to take you to your remote getaway. One thing is for sure, all your friends will be envious of your towable range camp trailer. Find out more at sheepcamps.com. That's sheepcamps.com for Timberline range camps.
Jim Houston inviting you on a West Coast wilderness vacation to Duncanby Lodge. From the moment you fly right to the dock, you'll notice the Duncanby difference. It's your vacation. Fish on your own or with a guide, catch the bite when you're ready. No set meal times here. Dine off an extensive menu when you want. And this, in a setting just off the entrance to majestic Rivers Inlet. Come on up this summer and enjoy a few days where time, date, and currency mean absolutely nothing. Check us out at duncanby.com.
Tom and Jerry's Boat Center in Mount Vernon is Washington's largest Hughes Craft and Kingfisher aluminum boat dealer. As a leader in sales, service, and fun on the water, Tom and Jerry's only purpose is to make sure you end up with the right boat for your family's needs at a price that will make you smile. Whether it's a new Hughes Craft or Kingfisher or a new Yamaha or Honda outboard, Tom and Jerry's can take care of all your needs. Check us out at tomandjerrys.net, and we'll see you on the water.
Welcome back to America Outdoors Radio. I'm John Cruz. This portion of the show is brought to you by the Alaska Sporting Journal. If you are planning a trip north to Alaska, this is the publication you want to be reading. It's got all sorts of great ideas for places to go, things to do, both hunting and fishing-wise. Find it at a newsstand near you, the Alaska Sporting Journal. We start off with some big news. The rumors have been swirling for over a year, and now it's a done deal. Bass Pro Shops, based out of Springfield, Missouri, has purchased Cabela's, based out of Sidney, Nebraska, for $5.5 billion. These two giants of the outdoors retail industry have similar, humble backgrounds and expanded in a very similar fashion. Both were known for their catalog sales for a long time and also for their huge stores that were a destination unto themselves. In recent years, Cabela's began opening smaller outpost stores in mid-market areas and also introduced pro staffers to the outdoors world who would host seminars at their stores or at sportsman shows. Meanwhile, Bass Pro Shops expanded far from their southern base into areas like Tacoma, Washington, and even Anchorage, Alaska, a place where you won't even find a largemouth bass that's not in captivity. And then, word started leaking out that times were getting a bit tough at Cabela's, the retailer with the tagline of the world's foremost outfitter since 1961. So, when the rumors and smoke started showing over a year ago that this acquisition might take place, several of us in the know took notice, and it turns out there was some fire causing that smoke. The final acquisition is supposed to take place early in 2017. So what does it all mean? First and foremost, I think you'll see some Cabela's store closures, especially in areas where Cabela's and Bass Pro Shops are located in the same market. Bass Pro did make it a point in their press release about the acquisition to say they planned on keeping a significant base of operations in Sidney, Nebraska, home to Cabela's, and that's got to be a relief for the employees there. But I can't imagine every job there is going to be safe. In the end, it's business, so expect some consolidation. As for the Cabela's name, it sounds like it might stick around, but I'm not entirely sure about that either. I guess we'll all find out about that together in the next couple of years. Heading to Montana. Have you heard of a guy named Todd Orr? I'll tell you what, he's one of the toughest guys I've ever seen and one of the unluckiest too. After all, how many people do you know get mauled by a bear twice in the same day? That's what happened to 50-year-old Todd Orr near his hometown of Bozeman, Montana last week when he was hiking and came across a bear with two cubs. The sow, likely a grizzly, charged and Orr sprayed it with bear spray and rolled into a ball to play dead. Well, the bear gnawed on him for a while. The bear left, and Orr headed back to the trailhead, only to be attacked again. The bear wandered away after the second attack, and Orr escaped back to his car at the trailhead, where he promptly shot a video of himself that he has posted on the internet. He starts off by showing his bloody face with the words, "Yeah, life sucks in bear country," and then showed off his injuries while describing what happened. After that, Orr drove himself to a hospital in Ennis, Montana, and called the sheriff's office to report the attack. Wow, hard to top that. Turning our attention to fishing and money. When you think of big money fishing tournaments, you probably think about bass fishing tournaments put on by FLW or Bassmaster. However, those pale in comparison to the tournaments put on every year in Baja, California by Bisbee's. Two of those tournaments are coming up in a hurry. The first one, October 14th through the 16th. It's the Bisbee's Los Cabos offshore tournament taking place out of Cabo San Lucas. There's a modified release format for billfish and weight divisions for tuna and dorado. Get this, $750,000 in prizes. October 18th through the 22nd. It's the Bisbee's Black and Blue Marlin Tournament, also taking place at Cabo. Black and Blue Marlin weight and release divisions, $2.5 million plus in prizes. In fact, last year, the winning team took home a $2.5 million check after winning this tournament with a 327-pound blue marlin. Wow! No wonder they call Bisbee's the world's richest tournaments. If you want to find out more about this big money tournament series taking place in the Pacific and the Sea of Cortez, go to Bisbee's, spelled BISBEES.com. Next up on America Outdoors Radio, we're talking to Greg Gutierrez. He wears a couple of hats. He is a tournament angler out of the great state of California. He also owns a lure company called Frenzy Baits, and he's a retired firefighter. Greg, welcome to the show.
Hey, well, thanks, John. Great to be able to talk with you.
Well, you've done a lot in your career. Number one, thanks for your service in the fire service. That's really appreciated. Number two, tell me about your tournament angling career. What have you been doing the last few years?
Yeah, the last few years have been, I've been just fishing as a, regional tournament pro. I haven't fished nationally since 2008 when my wife initially got sick. But back then I was fishing the Elite Tour and, just a brief synopsis of what I've done over the 2 decades of fishing as a professional. Yeah, I fished everything from the local, regional, level 1 bass, Angler's Choice, and stuff like that to BASS. I've done everything from Federation to the Tour, or to the Opens, to the Bassmaster Tour, to the Bassmaster Elite. And then also the FLW. The only thing I haven't done there is fish the FLW Tour, and it's still something I plan on trying to get to one of these days.
So I got to ask you, every angler has their favorite lake that they just love. What is your favorite bass lake?
I have to go back to Clear Lake every single time. I've looked at them. I've been around. I've fished. Upstate New York, I've fished Florida, I've fished, the Alabamas, the Georgias, the Texas, and when it comes down to it, it just keeps coming back to Clear Lake. It's just got everything, water, shallow water, everything.
Bassmaster ranked it, I think, the number 3 lake in the nation, California's Clear Lake, so I can understand why you like it. So let's turn our attention, though, to your bait company, Frenzy Baits. You've got a brand new lure out. It's called the Frenzy Nail. Tell our listeners about it.
The Frenzy Nail is a shaky head lure, and in the West, it's not that, it hasn't been that big of a deal. It's really starting to catch on now, but, it came out of Alabama, Georgia area, and has been a big deal back there for a long time. They call it a jig head worm, but here, it's a shaky head, and so I fished back east in all the grass and all the rocks and all the wood, and I found that everything that was out there just wasn't quite up to what I wanted. It wasn't a versatile enough tool, and so when I got back here, I started carving on one. And I put together a mold using an old jig design head that really I had used before, that really had met most of what I needed, but it didn't hold the bait that well. And one of the deals with the shaky heads is the barbing systems don't hold the bait that well. So what I came up with was this unique head design with the right angle to put the worm or your plastic bait up at almost a straight up and down, so it had that feeding look, like a goby digging into an egg, or sculpin, or shad, or a bait fish that's down, or even a crawdad that's in a true defensive, stand-up defensive position. And I started carving this thing, I put it together, and I started fishing with it, and I noticed I started getting rid of all the other shaky head style heads that I had, and I had multiple heads for different areas that I fished, one for the rocky spotted bass lakes, and one for the grassy areas, and one for the woody areas, and now I have one head, pretty much gotten rid of everything else. I've almost stopped throwing dart heads exclusively, and now I just throw a shaky head, and it's this nail. It's just the way it's designed.
It sounds fantastic to me. If you look on the website, folks, at frenzybaits.com and just go to the Frenzy Nail, you'll see what it is. Basically, it is this wide, shaky head jig, and the way it's hooked into the plastic worm or the grub, it's weedless, which is very, very nice. You don't have to worry about those wires like we used to with those old worm hooks, and it looks like it would work great. And it's, again, the Frenzy Nail. Look for it at Frenzy Baits. Are you in the stores, too?
Yeah, I'm in several stores in California. I'm still looking to expand, so if you got a favorite tackle shop out there and you want to be able to get it, get a hold of them. Tell them they got to have it. Once you guys throw this thing, it just was designed to speed up your presentation, control, time on the water. It does everything for you, just by holding the bait longer. And anyhow, yeah, get a hold of your local stores and let them know what you think about the bait. It's pretty impressive.
It's the Frenzy Nail from Frenzy Baits. Again, get a hold of your store if they don't have it, or just go to frenzybaits.com and order it online, and you'll be catching more bass at a lake near you. Greg, thanks for telling us all about this on America Outdoors Radio.
Hey, I appreciate the chance. We'll talk to you later.
We are out of time once again. It just flies around here, but I hope you enjoyed this week's broadcast. If you get a chance, go to our website. It's AmericaOutdoorsRadio.com. You'll be able to catch a podcast of last week's program. You can find us on RenoViolaOutdoors.com too, an internet station dedicated to outdoors programming. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. That's RenoViolaOutdoors.com. And look us up on Facebook at America Outdoors Radio. I do hope the good Lord blesses you greatly in the days and weeks ahead. It being October, there's a lot of hard decisions to make. Hunting or fishing or both. The decision is yours. But make sure you get out there to enjoy it. Because remember, it's your country and your outdoors.
It's time for another local shot of the outdoors. It's the Pacific Northwest edition of America Outdoors Radio, and you'll only hear it here on Fox Sports 1380 KRKO.
This again is guide Bruce Warren with Fishing for Fun Guide Service. Bruce, fall's here. It's time to go ahead and start fishing for coho salmon. I understand you're going to be using a lure from Max Lure Company for this.
You bet. The Sonic Bait Fish, John. It's an incredible little lure. It works very, very well for this technique. You can rig it 3 different ways to put maximum hooks on where, regulations require or accept, but also it works really good for trolling, casting and retrieving, or twitching in the same way you would twitch a jig for coho.
It's almost like a blade bait or a crippled herring. It looks similar to that. But like you said, there's different points where you can put hooks on or put your line on. How are you fishing? Are you basically tying it to the nose and putting a hook on the bottom at the tail, so to speak, or doing something different?
Well, we can certainly do it that way, and that works very, very well if you're interested and you have single hook regulations. But what I'm excited about it is you can put a hook on each end of that, tie your line to the back. It will add extra flare and extra flutter, and it will catch more fish that way.
Are we like vertical jigging this like you would for a blade bait for walleye, or are we doing something different for the coho?
You can certainly jig it vertically if you're in a deep enough water and you have coho underneath your boat or your position. But you can cast it and retrieve it very similar to twitching a jig for coho, which all you know on the coast is a very popular technique. This gives you one more tool for that arsenal for these late winter or early fall coho.
And I understand that this probably be a good lure as well for the humpies when they come back. And does this come in pink? Because we both know that's critical if you're going to catch humpy.
First of all, yes, it does come in pink. Oh boy. And yes, it will work the same way you do for twitching for coho with it or jigging for coho. It will work for humpies the same exact way. Humpies are very aggressive when it comes to a jigging technique, and they will love this, and it's a lot of fun to fish. Real easy for anybody to cast and retrieve this particular lure.
Bruce, we got to go, but let's go ahead and give people a phone number and a website so they can find out more about your guide service and maybe book a trip with you.
You bet, John. Bruce Warren, fishingforfunguideservice.com, 253-208-7433. Get us on the web, get us on the phone, or you can go to our Facebook page at Fishing for Fun Guide Service.
Tom and Jerry's Boat Center in Mount Vernon is Washington's largest Hughes Craft and Kingfisher aluminum boat dealer. As a leader in sales, service, and fun on the water, Tom and Jerry's only purpose is to make sure you end up with the right boat for your family's needs at a price that will make you smile. Whether it's a new Hughes Craft or Kingfisher or a new Yamaha or Honda outboard, Tom and Jerry's can take care of all your needs. Check us out at tomandjerrys.net, and we'll see you on the water.